One moment, it's preparing. Okay, we're ready.
Great. Okay. So the meeting of the Kailua Village Design Commission will come to order. The time is 5:15 p.m. Welcome, everyone. My name is Sean Roth. I'm the chairperson of the Kailua Village Design Commission. I'll go down the list and introduce the commissioners that are on the call here. We have Jasmine Kurisat, Brian Ching, Makiela Ikiuchi, Riley Smith, and Zahn Sullenberger. The commissioner's role is to provide an architectural and design review of proposed projects, including landscaping and signage within the Kailua Village Special District. The commission is an advisory body. For sign permits, the commission's recommendations are forwarded to the Public Works Director for action. For architectural design review, the commission's recommendations are forwarded to the Planning Director for action. The procedures of this meeting are Robert's Rules of Order will be used to conduct the meeting. Each commissioner wishing to speak should be recognized by the chairperson before speaking. Applicants and members of the public should be recognized by the chairperson when testifying or asking questions. Public testimony, because of COVID-19, is only by email or written testimony. Staff, is there any public testimony today?
Hi, Chairman Roth. No, there weren't any.
No, okay, so nothing was submitted. Thank you. The staff will introduce each project. Applicants will be asked to make a presentation or statement, which will be followed by questions from the commissioners. The commission, after discussion, will vote to make a recommendation for approval, denial, or deferral. The first order of business is meeting minutes from September 14th. The September 4th meeting minutes were distributed. Are there any corrections to those minutes? Okay, I'm looking, I'm not seeing anyone unmuting or raising their hand. Hearing no corrections, the minutes are approved. And there are no statements for the public. So the first item of new business is application PL-KVD-2021 0000005. The applicant, Mr. David Duran, contractor for the University of Nations, is proposing approximately 11 temporary tents located in the interior area of the University of Nations campus for use as COVID-safe assembly. The maximum height of the tents would be 16 feet. The tents would measure 30 feet by 60 feet and 40 feet by 60 feet, with tent material as white canvas, and would be open air tents. The proposed tents are internal to the campus grounds and not visible from the street. No other changes proposed to the campus buildings. The site plan for the tent improvements is shown on the sheet E01 for this project. The applicant, David Duran, landowner, University of Nations, TMK 750100003, located at 75-332 Hualalai Road in Kailua, Kona. Will staff please give us an introduction to the project?
Good evening, commissioners. This is Terry Napiahi. I am filling in for Roz Newland, who was going to give this presentation today, and I'm going to be giving that presentation. I'm going to share something for you right now. It's taking a while to get on. Sorry. Slideshow. Sorry, I don't.
Play from the beginning on the way on the left.
Okay. Why did it not want to go? So sorry. Let me
I
try
think-
this again.
Over the play from the beginning on the far left.
Okay, there you go. All righty. Okay, the first applicant we have here today is the University of Nations in Kona. Today's date, October 26, 2021. This is the beautiful picture of the campus with Hualalai in behind. You can see the actual buildings, the existing buildings that we have here. Tonight we have a design review of approximately 11 temporary tents that is being proposed by the University of Nations. It is on address 75-332 Hualalai Road, Kailua, Kona, Hawaii 96740. The parcel TMK number is 75103. And the applicant we have tonight is David Drawn. And next slide. Welcome to our KVDC. I have a slide here that shows a planning department ArcGIS map that shows the zoning for this particular parcel. It is a RM-4 zoning, and we have a state land use of urban. And you can see that this is the parcel, and it clearly shows you the streets that are above and between. And you can see where north is up this way. We have the ocean on this side, and so this would be your southern portion. So we have Queen Ka'ahumanu up on this highway on your right, and we have Hualalai Road here, and we have Kuakini Highway. So this gives you a great description of direction: north, south, east, and west. And it's clearly within the KVDC boundary lines. And we have a beautiful aerial shot of the campus. And you can see that in this area, we have the soccer field that is indicated on some of the slides after this slide. We have some of the buildings that we have here that will show later in the slides that I have here tonight, showing some of the areas that the tents will be set. Nice view of our ocean, Hualalai Road, Kuika'ahumanu Highway, and Kuakini Highway. And I believe the access to the University of Nations is from Hualalai Road. Okay, here you have it is a unapproved master plan for the University of Nations, but it's a great site map for you to see where the project is going to be happening. So I would like to draw attention to this area here, where it shows some of the lava refugee emergency bunk houses that was built here. We have 5 of them here. That's going to be removed. And then we have on this end where other things, there's a building that will be removed here. Some of the tents will be placed here. And So next slide. I know they have some other, we have a setback here, 8, or setback here, 20, but I know they have other temporary tents here, A, B, C, but we're concentrating here. They're proposing their tents within this area. So this is something that was given to us by the University of Nations. And I kind of tilted it upward so that you could see where north is and how this identifies to the map that I previously showed you. So here are the tents that they had built earlier or previously. And so our tents will be here. So there are 11 tents, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in the 11 tents. And so you can see how it was from, I'm going to go back to the previous slide. So you can see where it's at. These are the emergency bunk houses that were built previously. And the other area where the other tents are going to be, the other 6 tents, I think. Okay. Gave an example of what the tents are going to be looking like. This is an example of a 30 by 45 tent, canvas, white canvas. And so this is not on the campus. This is just an example that was given to our planning department to show our commissioners tonight. This is another tent example of what it looks like. And we've given the heights for these tents in your description that Chairman Roth had explained. That the tents would be measured 3 feet by 60 feet and 40 feet by 60 feet with tent material as white canvas. And the heights are going to be, the highest peak would be 17 feet. And these are the slides that I have for now. And the presentation is done.
Hey, thank you. Commissioners, does anyone have any questions? Okay, not seeing anyone on mute. So does the applicant have anything that they would like to present?
We would like to just
Go ahead,
ask,
Tom.
yeah, Tom Waddle here. I'm with Dave Drawn, so we're sharing the screen together.
Great.
We've asked Don Curry to log in to the Zoom. Don is our medical director for the campus and initiated this concept. We did provide a letter from him, but I think it might be appropriate for him to maybe give us a Cliff Notes version of the whys we're asking for this. And just to clarify before Don starts, on the slide that's currently up, the structures that were shown on the aerial have been removed. And so these COVID prevention tents are on the slabs, most of the slabs that were formerly occupied by a structure. So we're not adding any more concrete per se for a slab or anything. So anyway, that being said, I wanted to maybe defer to Don if he could chime in here.
Thank you, Tom. Can people hear me okay?
Yes.
He just muted.
Oh,
he
Don,
was
you
on
just-
and now he's muted.
Hey, Don,
Yeah.
you're
Okay.
muted.
Yeah, okay, there we are.
Okay.
Thanks so much for considering this. As all of you are probably aware, we've been going through quite a journey with COVID. And the evidence is pretty strong now that this virus is transmitted mostly indoors. And so my training is in public health and preventive medicine, as well as in tropical medicine. And right from the beginning, the evidence was building up of the significance of indoor outbreaks, and sort of almost all the outbreaks starting back in China can be checked back to indoor transmission. And there's a study I've mentioned at Washington State that was done that almost all the outbreaks are from when students get together in close proximity indoors. So that's led to a lot of universities that are able to try to get as many gatherings as they can outdoors. And in the letter, I've given some examples from Stanford to Penn State to Vanderbilt, and any universities that are able to, college campuses where the weather is appropriate, will move their gatherings as outside as much as possible. And I think we'll see this growing even more. This virus is going to be with us. We're looking at a Delta Plus now. We're praying that this Delta Plus may not be that communicable, but we need to prepare, I would say, all civic structures and campuses and schools wherever they can to have as much outdoors. And that's pretty well shown scientifically. I've given some papers. CDC also recommends it strongly to increase ventilation, meet outside as much as possible. I've been in communication with our Department of Health, Eric Honda and Jason De La Cruz, our director, the acting directors of public health, and talked about with this in terms of protecting our community. And they've been very supportive, have said definitely from a CDC standpoint, as much as possible happening outside will be safer for the campus and obviously the community. So because of this, I had spoken with leadership back about a year ago for us to proceed with this. And then at that point, the outbreak dropped down. That was back in September, October of last year. But as we've seen this virus grow and the different variants spread, we're aware that this type of approach would be very effective and protect us as a campus and obviously as a community. So the letter shows a few pictures of what tents look like. They're pretty standard. I would say this is pretty much standard of public health now, to move as much as possible outside. And that's why I've encouraged the campus leadership to consider this. And I would make an appeal. These are temporary tents. They can be taken down at will and put up if necessary. They'd be used for lectures to move people outside if the risk level goes up, and also for students to socialize outside. So giving more room for socialization. Study halls, instead of studying inside, they would study outside. Obviously, one of the great advantages of living in Hawaii is that we're able to maximize airflow and minimize viral spread. So I've summarized it in the letter that I sent. If you have any questions.
I have a question for, maybe it's more for Tom and David. I have not seen, or maybe I just missed it in the application, about how long are these intended to be up? And then also, if you could just maybe make a mention about, there's electrical drawings shown here. So it appears they're going to include lighting.
Yeah, I think
Nighttime use.
on the duration, I think the plan is only put them up when needed and only as long as needed. And that we would defer to Dr. Curry on, as he's the medical director for the campus and has initiated this whole concept. The electrical drawing is to provide primarily power for a PA system. As you know, I think one thing that obviously first came up is, well, how do you have classrooms so close in an outdoor setting, right? And hear each other and not get overwhelmed by the tent right next to you. So fortunately, our IT department has come up with like an ear pod solution for each, let's say each class is under a tent and they have their own mic and ear pod solution, and are able to then just contain their own sound, within that tent without having a PA system, quote unquote. And then also the power enables us to get all of our web, transmission to those locations because a lot of our classrooms do some Zooming and have some international feeds. And so that enables us to have a monitor, in each location and web access as well. I don't think that we have a lot of evening activities that have in mind, a lot of lights, but again, I defer to Dawn on that. I hope that answered your question.
Oh, thank you. That's great. That clarifies things. So, yeah, so these are not these are not intended to be up for 2 years. You'll take them up and down as needed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my best understanding. And again, it's really driven by COVID. We're really back on a previous slide that showed the whole campus. Our largest building is a 30,000 footprint of the cafeteria. And it's probably 90% permitted now and can house up to 1,200 people. So, and it's air conditioned. So our hope is to, get back to normal, have indoor classes, and so that's our primary goal. This came up just as an emergency safeguard in case we need to move in this direction for a temporary fix.
Great, thank you. Commissioners, does anyone else have any questions for the applicant? Go ahead, Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Sean. Just one question. So even though this is intended to be temporary, is it the applicant's intention to obtain a building permit and fire department approval for these structures?
Yeah, we are planning to do that. We have been informed that the process requires the planning department approval first on the master plan, and that brought it into this committee. So should we succeed with your approval and the planning department, we've got our permit, our temporary tent permits ready to submit to the building department. And we'll do the same with the electrical for a temporary electrical power. Good question. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm good. And I'm in support of your application. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, any other questions? Okay, well, thank you for that presentation and clarifications. So we'll move on to discussion. Commissioners, well, I'll start off saying that I also am very much in support of this application. I think that visually it doesn't have any effect on the village, and it's a very responsible thing to do, to be trying to make a healthier environment there. So I'm all in favor, and I applaud these solutions of the audio and all that. Seems like that's going to make it actually work. That's great. Commissioners, any other? Does anyone else have any discussion? Commissioner Smith?
Sean, I just wanted to add that I support this, especially too, because it is internal to the site and it's not going to be visible from any of the adjoining properties. And I think it's sensitive to the COVID situation we're dealing with. So I also support exactly what they're doing and appreciate you going to these efforts to look out for the safety of your students. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Would anyone, any commissioner care to make a motion on this application?
I make a motion that we pass this request.
Okay. As Commissioner Ching is moved that we pass the request. And I think Commissioner Kursat, are you seconding?
Yes.
Yes, seconded by Commissioner Kursat. Is there any discussion on the motion? Zahn, are you unmuted?
I'm in favor of it.
Okay,
Brian beat me to the punch, so.
okay, great. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, if not, then let's proceed to voting.
Thank you, Commissioner Roth, Chairman Roth. Let's proceed to voting. So we have a motion by Commissioner Ching to approve the project as submitted, and second by Commissioner Crusat. So let's do a roll call vote. Commissioner Ching,
Aye.
Commissioner Crusat. Aye. Commissioner Ikeuchi.
Aye.
Commissioner Kern is excused tonight. Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Sonnenberger,
Aye.
Commissioner Wercheck is excused tonight. And so we have, that was a unanimous vote. The motion was approved.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you guys for presenting this. So that's the only item of new business we have. So we'll move on to administrative matters. Are there any administrative matters that need to be brought up?
No, well, we just have the announcement for our next meeting, tentatively scheduled for November 9th,
Okay, thank you.
2021.
So now the only announcement I think is the November 9th is the next meeting. Are there any further announcements?
No,
Okay.
Commissioner.
Not
Chair.
hearing any further announcements, then there's no further business. Meeting is adjourned at 5:42 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of your week.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Good
Bye,
night.
everyone. Have a great
Thank
day.
you.
Stay safe.
So much.